mahalaga sa kabuhayan ng Pilipinas. Iba't po nito ang responsibilidad para protektahan ang kalikasan at kalusugan po ng komunidad. Kaya patuloy ang panawagan para sa safe, clean, and responsible mining practices sa bansa. At ngayong umaga, makakasama po natin si Sir Roger Tiso ng Artisanal Gold Council o AGC. Good morning, Sir Roger. Welcome to Rise and Shine Pilipinas. All right, let's talk about the Artisanal Gold Council or AGC in improving the mining sector. Tell us about the organization.
So the Artisanal Gold Council is a non-profit organization. We have been working with artisanal gold miners worldwide for more than 25 years. Our mission is to professionalize, to help artisanal gold miners to achieve dignified work without harming the environment and according to the rules and regulations, what we call formalization of the countries. And particularly, we try to help them to avoid the use of mercury, which is a very dangerous chemical for the individual and for the environment.
Well, talking about that, the advocacy is Make Mercury History. So what are the initiatives of AGC to make this advocacy?
Exactly what we call see. We are an organization that works closely with the miners based on programs that are financed by global entities like the Global Environmental Facility, the United Nations Environmental Program, and others. And the advocacy is when we go to a country and we do what we call an intervention, we try to identify cooperatives that are willing partners to work with us after a consultation process. We ensure basically that they want to work within the formalization process. So we help them which basically is work within the legal system. The second is we teach them how to use what we call modern technologies that would allow them to increase the productivity of gold without having to use mercury. That's usually a very challenging task because mercury has been used for thousands of years in the process of producing gold, and it's very efficient if you want, but very dangerous. So our goal is to bring them technologies that could maintain improve the level of productivity without increasing the cost. So we work on that. And third, in order to do that, some miners need to require equipment, so access to capital. So we also help them develop programs in which they can have access to what we call finance. And finally, we help them to make sure that the gold that are produced is fully traceable. What that means is that the formal buyers, for example, the Bank of Pilipinas or large refineries, are confident that the gold they're buying is mercury-free and comply with all the requirements of the international gold refinery industry, LBMA, OECD, etc.
Okay, now I want to go to the modern technology that you've been saying.
Yeah.
So what are the concrete examples of the use of modern technology in this practice?
So in reality, the modern technology are not that complex and are not that, they have been around for a number of years. So shaking tables, gravimetric process. The idea is to allow the separation of gold with other particles by using gravity. To be honest, is not the main complexity. The complexity is ensure that in each of the steps there is no temptation that use the technology and add mercury to make sure that that doesn't happen. And second, that the miners have the ability to manage that technology properly and they have access to finance that technology.
Now let's talk about your collaboration with the Philippine government, particularly the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR. Tell us about this collaboration.
So that's, for us, there have been great partners and they're extremely important. The collaboration started through the program what we call the Planet Gold program. So this is a program supported or financed by the Global Environmental Facility and United Nations Environmental Program. So we were selected to execute the program, basically to work with the communities to ensure all those things that I mentioned. But you need a holistic approach, and you need to make sure that what we do is not in isolation with the objectives and goals of the government. So we work very close with the government, and they have some policies, some objectives, and we make sure that those objectives are aligned to what we do, and they also have an influence in terms of where do they want this type of finance resources from international aid to the benefits of the government objective in terms of artisanal gold miners.
Now, there's a Roger talking about the current state of the sector in the Philippines.
Yeah.
How bad is it, the use of mercury in the mining sector?
So this is a good question. Right now we are in the process of completing a document we call the National Action Plan. This is a document that obviously is going to be a government-owned document, which is going to be used as a base to define the next step of activities that are very important to address the issue of mercury elimination as part of the Philippines' obligation with the Minamata Convention. So we were again selected to do that assessment. Although there have been great improvement in Philippines, like in other countries, the challenge is still greater. And the reason is because the world that we knew in artisanal gold mining 25 years ago is very different now. There are three big changes that completely modify the landscape of artisanal gold mining. One is climate change. So in the past, the farmers used to do gold mining on an artisanal way as a way to diversify their income. But there were farmers that happened to do mining. With the climate change in many countries, farmers cannot sustain alone, so they become full-time miners. The second one, and if they don't do it properly, so the environmental impact is bigger. The second one is in many of our developing countries, we have a youth population boom. So many babies born 20, 25 years ago are entering the workforce, and they are not finding enough job opportunities. So artisanal or small-scale mining is an option to generate jobs. But the most important one is in the last 5 years is the rapid rise of gold prices. So very high gold prices attract many people to the sector as an opportunistic option. So although we have made some progress, the challenges are significant.
Well, it's Labor Day today,
Yes.
and clearly your initiatives also really empower our communities. And just for the last question, what is your message, the AGC's message to our, those involved in this sector, and also what about the future of small-scale mining in the Philippines?
So I want to say that I have never met an artisanal miner that want to work in the informality or illegality that sometimes people. Everybody wants to work within the laws and respecting the environment. We work very hard with miners to dignify their work. Is it possible to change something that is often perceived a very negative view? And I'm not ignoring the negative challenge, and something positive that could allow communities to respect the environment, to have dignified work, and to stay in their areas, in their communities, in rural areas, without having to migrate to other countries and other places. So their job is very important. We need to make sure that it's within the law and within the proper environmental safeguard. But artisanal miners provide a significant source of employment, direct and indirect, to the Philippines and to many countries of the Global South.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the initiatives of AGC here in Rise and Shine Pilipinas. And thank you very much, Sir Roger Tiso of Artisanal Gold Council, or AGC. Thank you very much.
Thank you.